Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Nico Show episode. I hope you're doing well. Yeah. I'm very excited to be back again well, we're not streaming this episode, unfortunately. This is not a streamed episode. This is an offline episode, which I've done a couple times, and I hope you guys don't mind that. That's okay, because you're going to be seeing this on YouTube, of course. You may not see it on Twitch, but that's okay. Like I said, YouTube, you'll get the links to that. If anybody knows me on Twitch, you know where to find the Nico Show. There's always links to my YouTube channel on that. And then I just want to say, if anybody out there has been listening to me or is waiting for another podcast for the Nico Show on Spotify, I do apologize that there hasn't been much of that happening because money's been really tight right now, and I can't afford paying $15 a month for this website that you have to use in order to post your podcast on, and then you kind of branch out to Spotify from that website to let them know you want to put your podcast on their stuff too. So you have to at least pay $15 a month to get more space to upload on the podcast website that I use. And I was doing that for a while. We were making great progress. We were in the middle keeping up with it, but it's better than not having anything at the moment. Bottom line is I can't afford to upload, so I had to go back to the basic $5 for getting 50 megabytes of podcast storage, and that's really not a lot. So unfortunately, we're going to have to make these episodes shorter than the hour length, just for a little while, just until I can get back on my feet. I'm doing my best trying to work 2 jobs, getting as much pay as I can, It's a little tough, especially around the holidays, which, this is going to be a good episode. We might do just this one before Christmas time, or we might do another one. I might do a collab Christmas stream around that time. That'd be pretty fun. Hopefully no one's busy that day, or it might take place a day before Christmas Eve or something like that. If whoever I have is there for a collab, or I might just do it by myself and just go from there. That'll be a lot of fun. This episode in general is going to be a bit interesting because we haven't really, from what I remember, oh my gosh, we're on like episode 71, which is pretty crazy, right? Episode 71. I gotta do some little sound bites there. That's just amazing. Sorry if that's really loud for you guys. I try to put on a decent volume. Before we go back into what this video is about, I just want to say sorry, guys, for anybody on Spotify who's waiting for the next podcast. And, I guess people can listen to podcasts on the website that I use. And sorry to those people who are waiting for that to go on there. Because you never know. I know you never know who could find your stuff, right? There's always a chance that someone's curious enough or just types in, I don't know, something that has to do with gaming and I come up. That'd be great. I try to do my best in making these podcasts interesting. Not every podcast is about video games and stuff, but the majority of the time it is. But there have been some streams where I've done just talking about Star Wars, for example, that's like the latest one I can remember that's not video game related. There might be video game topics in there to prove a point, but when I was talking about Star Wars, it was just talking about Disney resetting the Star Wars mythos and stuff again. And I'm like, it was worth mentioning in a Nico Show podcast format. But anyway, I'm going to do my best with this to keep it at least at the most 40 minutes. I'm going to do my best. I know it's not very cool to just set time duration like that, and that kind of puts more pressure on myself. But we're just going to go until I feel like this video has gotten my point across, this podcast. And if it gets to the 40 minutes, it gets to the 30 minutes, it gets to the 20 minutes, hey, I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. It's fine, as long as I get the point. Now, with me listening to podcasts, just real quick, guys, let me just say this. Me listening to podcasts, I like listening to the longer ones. That's just a me thing. I don't like podcasts. Like, on average, the podcasts I listen to are about an hour. I don't mind listening to ones that are 30 minutes because you can learn a lot in 30 minutes. But I'm just, you get used to listening to their standard format. On average, it's just they do hour podcasts, maybe even 3 hours, 2.5. But, 30 minutes, it's like, I kind of want it to be a little bit longer. But at the same time, I want to finish the podcast. So, I don't know. It just depends. It's just circumstantial, I guess. But I've been more inclined, leaning towards hour-long podcasts and stuff like that. But, 30 minutes is fine. 30 minutes to an hour is fine. I feel like you can definitely get what you're trying to say out there for people to understand where you're coming from. Now, back to what I was saying before about what this video is going to be about. Now, I'm surprised by me on not doing like an anniversary type videos for each time I release this, each time the anniversary hits, which this podcast is talking about, which, like I said, I don't know if I've ever talked about a specific video of mine and dive deep into it. I might have, and I don't even realize it, but if I have, we're doing it again. But this is going to be talking about the video I did, Top 9 Reasons Final Fantasy IX is Better Than Final Fantasy VII. And this video was released back in October 28th, 2016. So we're a little bit past the 4-year mark, and I'm kind of upset with myself on not doing anniversary videos every year. Well, it's not necessary to do, but, it might have been nice because for me, this video, I put a lot of time and effort. This video took me almost a year to do because when I do videos on this scale with this much editing and stuff, I really take my time. I don't have that time anymore to do stuff like this. Well, I do, but then I don't, and then also I don't want to, unless it's something I'm really, really passionate about. Otherwise, you'll see me do podcast formats. You'll see me doing like informative news stuff, which is, for the most part, bare bones editing and stuff. And, that stuff doesn't need to be that crazy. It really doesn't. I don't do like these deep dive videos really that much. If I do, it'll be like what we're talking about now. And you know what? For those of you that have seen this video and have subscribed through the channel on YouTube, and are hearing this now, I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to, check it out for however long you wanted to watch it. It's a 46-minute video. I know it's a little long, but this was something that I felt like that needed to be discussed because deep down, I think it does. This is a video, like I said, came out 4 years ago. And I'm going to do, I'm trying to do something special for it, but I'm just going to call it The Nico Show, episode 71, Final Fantasy IX video anniversary, or something like that. I'll think of a title. It's not really important right now. This video is sitting at 6.2K views, and by the way, that's good for me, for my channel. It didn't, in the beginning, it was a slow burn. I couldn't get I wanted to subvert expectations of people and how they feel about Final Fantasy VII, because there was a very specific reason why I did this, which we'll get in a second, like the psychology, the methodology behind this video and the purpose. But I was really hoping for it to be my magnum opus for me to get out there in the YouTube world, right? Because like I said, when you put a lot of time into something, you always think that, well, there's a chance. There's a chance that, this is going to get somewhere. I made a promotional video for this video, a video for a video. What else? I even put this video on promotion itself for people to see it as advertisements when they're watching gaming channels or something. I wanted to at least get the exposure, It doesn't matter if I'm being annoying. I just wanted people to know that it exists, whether they like it or not. That's this high risk, high reward. Unfortunately, it didn't get the big break that I wanted to, but I'm always grateful for the amount of views it has anyway. I still think for having, I say this lightly because in the grand scheme of things, for YouTube it's not that much, but 697 subscribers on YouTube is not that much. And but getting 6.2k views for that many subscribers is actually a good thing, even over a 4-year span. 4 years ago, guys, I had like 50 subscribers on YouTube. Okay, 50. And now you can say that I have increased quite a bit on YouTube, but trust me, it has been a slow burn on YouTube. It really has. I know it seems like that's a huge increase. I should be happy, which I am, of course. My YouTube channel is growing a little bit more day by day. But I don't have the lucky break like a lot of people do when they just, when I'm releasing videos like they are, but for some reason they're getting in the algorithms, because we all know how YouTube works. Not trying to make an excuse for myself if my content's not interesting enough. I'm just saying. But some people have it easier than others, and that's a definite thing. The algorithm chooses particularly on who they want to get popular. And I haven't been fortunate enough to do that. I have to really, really work at it. I had to post video after video after video, Well, I don't have to, but I choose to because I enjoy it and I like to keep everybody informed on it, on the stuff that I post. Now, like I said, this video didn't have the response that I was hoping for, but nonetheless, I'm still happy that people have commented. This video in the past 4 years, we're at 114 comments. It doesn't seem like much, but with this video, it is a lot. It really is. But there have been recent videos I posted on my channel that have gotten to 100 plus comments in like a week. But this is now talking about those other videos getting that reception that I like, and then this video was out 4 years ago. So my channel didn't have the strength to squeeze right through that algorithm to show its face to the YouTube peeps. It just didn't happen. But maybe one day, a video. Here's the thing. On YouTube, for example, any video can make it or break it, right? And there's always a video that can really hit the jackpot. It doesn't matter if it was posted 4 years ago, 2 years ago, just now. Anything. It's just like people selling stuff on eBay at high prices because the market is looking for that supply and demand, and they charge up the wazoo. But a week later, it's not relevant anymore, and it's not worth much. And that stuff happens all the time on the marketplace. So it's kind of like that with my YouTube videos. It's up on the market, and who knows? As time goes on, maybe it'd be like aged wine. It gets better and better. It's a video that can be applied for, can stand the test of time, which is a good thing. Definitely a good thing. This is a video that you can watch at any time, any year, any age. A lot of the informative stuff I talk about on my channel are very, the timeline is set. It's a period. They're period pieces pretty much. So that's always one of the follies for that, because they're just news that you stay updated with. It's not a video that you would want to watch again, despite them being informative, unless you miss something. Who knows? But with this video, let's dive into why I did such a thing. Now, for those of you that know me, Final Fantasy IX is my #1 favorite game of all time. Number 2 is Ocarina of Time, and number 3 is Mega Man X. And you could say those are some great games to have in your top 3, top 5. It don't matter. But number 1 is Final Fantasy IX. Now, I say this. I say this now just so people don't think I'm just full of shit. But there are people out there that are, somewhat fans of a game. They kind of like it. They play it through once. Like, yeah, that was a good time. But I'm not a huge fan. I'm not really about all the mythos, the lore, and stuff. So, and then there are the people that are the die-hard fans that can play this game over and over and over again. They know every little thing about it. For Final Fantasy example, what monster has this item, how much health he has, what are these characters all about, where to go to do these side quests. Those are the guys that have just mastered it. I'm somewhere in the middle, like maybe leaning towards that. Yeah, I'm in the middle. Like, I love this game with all my heart. It is one of the best games I've ever played. I loved everything about it. It was so much fun playing it back when I was a kid. And it's still a ton of fun to play now. And I love experiencing it at least once a year in my life. Once a year. And it's great. Here's the thing. I don't have to be a try-hard, die-hard fan to make a video about a game I like. You don't have to. I understand that the reasons of what I mentioned in the game might have to do with me knowing enough, which is understandable. You do your research and all that, and you go with your personal experience, which is what I was going with. But there have been details that I might have missed, or I didn't do a good enough explanation. But anyway, the point of this video is that Final Fantasy IX to me is the best Final Fantasy out there. A lot of people will argue that 7 is. 6 is, maybe shit, people even say 8 is. Ugh. But, which we'll play 8 eventually on the Twitch channel. I'm actually kind of excited for that. But the thing is, I was really sick and tired of hearing how much praise Final Fantasy VII was getting. I wanted to make a video that was controversial. Like, I accepted the stones thrown at me, the pitchforks, the torches. I wanted that reaction. And I wasn't trying to troll, okay? I wasn't going to be like a Rian Johnson with The Last Jedi who just made a shitty Star Wars movie on purpose and just polarized the entire Star Wars community. No. I'm not trying to do that. That's douchey. I wanted to show people that nostalgia can't win the hearts and minds forever, right? And I'm not trying to be nostalgic with Final Fantasy IX despite it being an old game. And maybe nostalgia does always play a role, because you always try to input your past memories, and that's just how it goes. But playing this game again, a few times in the past 5 years or something, I still love this game with all my heart. It is so good. It is great. And, I thought it was, I looked it up. I looked up to find if anybody's done a video on YouTube, and nobody has, from what I've found at the time. Nobody has done a video of why Final Fantasy IX or any Final Fantasy is better than Final Fantasy VII. I didn't understand how this was possible. So that makes me think, I'm like, how come this video didn't make the breakthrough then? People are always looking up stuff Final Fantasy related. So I don't know. It's just me we're talking about here. It's Nico the Legend for you, of course. I always get the shorthand of the stick, so thanks YouTube for that schlock fest. But I felt like it was a good opportunity to do it. Final Fantasy VII Remake was coming out, was announced, around this time. It was announced pretty damn early. I think 2015 or 2016 was when it was first announced. And I think I was just getting sick of all the love and praise Final Fantasy VII gets. Now, I will say this. 7 is my second favorite Final Fantasy game out of all of them. And how does that make sense? Well, let's just hear me out. Think of it like football. You have your top wide receiver of all time, the guy who catches the ball. His yards are through the fucking roof. Okay? They're the best. He's number one for a reason. He has the highest yards in terms of like total yards from catching the ball and running with it. Okay? Second place is second place for a reason. And the yardage is like 3-1. It's like cut by 3/4 of number one's the top spot. That's how much of a difference it is to me. It's up there in my second favorite, but it's like a 9-day difference though in terms of like first place and second place. First place finished the race a minute ahead of second place. Like, that's how much of a difference it was. Like I said, I like Final Fantasy VII, but it just wasn't my favorite. And this video, I just wanted to let people know of why I think 9 is better than 7. Because 9 was that game that came out at a weird time. It came out a year, either half a year or a year after Final Fantasy VIII did. And then after Final Fantasy 9 came out, Final Fantasy X came out real quick afterwards. And then the PS2 came out. And Final Fantasy IX was overshadowed by the new PS2 and the new Final Fantasy. Which I know there's a lot of people that like Final Fantasy X a lot because that was a huge game at the time when that came out. It was a huge game. And Final Fantasy IX was just kind of swept under the rug. And I felt like, despite it being, it sold over 1 million copies, which is always a milestone, especially around that time. And then the time, and how it was treated as a game, how it was kind of just like thrown in the middle there. It was overshadowed by bigger tech, PS2 Daddy, instead of, because Final Fantasy IX is on the PS1. But with that said, it's just a good way for me to be like, hey, like, I think Final Fantasy IX is better because of this, I want to do a video like that. So that was kind of my main reason. I was just sick of people just oversaturating Final Fantasy VII and worshiping it and just saying it's the best Final Fantasy ever, which I'll take it to my grave. It's clearly not the best Final Fantasy. And of course, you can find plenty of videos discussing why 9 is better than 7, why 7's not the best one, yada yada yada. You can find a video for any type of argument that supports your claim. That's just how favoritism goes, or confirmation bias. And I've known some people that don't like 9. That's fine. I'm not bashing on anybody that likes 7 the most. It's fine. I get it. If that was a key part of your life where you played it and you really enjoyed it, then that's fine. You enjoyed the steampunk vibe. You enjoyed the characters and what it offered and the story. That's okay. 9 clicked with me the most out of all of them. There was just something special about 9 that I just loved it. It was just such a good time. So now that we know why I did this video, let's dive into the video itself. Where I'm not going to go into clear cut and describing every little thing in here because we'd be here forever. But I will say the reasons I've gotten comments. Okay, I've gotten comments saying. And, okay, a lot of the comments are really butthurt comments that people don't even watch the majority of the video. They watch like 2 seconds of it. Because they'll talk about stuff saying that I didn't explain it at all. Or saying that I'm wrong because it had this. That's how I know they didn't watch the entire video, because I do explain it. I remember every little thing I talked about in this video. Because like I think I still have this. Yeah, I still have the script and everything. I remember every little thing I talked about on this game, in this video. Okay, I spent 8 months doing it. You expect me not to remember? Well, but there's a lot of ragey, sweaty comments like that really don't hold a candle to their arguments. Like I get it. They're comments, and people don't want to take the time to actually explain the reason of why I was wrong. They just say no, and that's it. But there have been some that actually explain some things that actually have proved me wrong. I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of missed that detail. Because like I said, I'm trying my best to convince you, but I'm not going to remember every single little fucking detail about a video game because I have better things to do in my life. I'm working on this video. I know enough about 7 and I know enough about 9, okay, to get my point across. And there are some reasons where I could, in the top 9 reasons, there are a couple of reasons where I could have explained it better. Like, for example, is the characters. I talked about characters plural. For the most part, I was just talking about the main protagonist. And between Zidane, I'll always call him Zidane, sorry guys. That's just something I grew up saying. Because I didn't know what phonetics were back in 2000 or, when I was 10 or 11. Even though they were in my school books. But anyway, I digress. I only talked about the main characters, the 2 protagonists, which Cloud and Zidane. I didn't talk about the supporting characters, the people in the main party too much, which that was one of my follies. I'm like, damn, I forgot to talk about the other people. Bottom line is, for 7, the supporting characters are more interesting than Cloud. That's all I'm gonna say there. Yeah, it's like that. But you know, I still think I got the point across though overall. But yeah, it was a bit of an unrefined video. There were some reasons I explained, like reasons 9 through 6 or something, or 7. I don't even. Something happened with my mic or something. I had to get a new mic because the original one I had just wasn't working or something. I can't remember. There was some technical issues. And I remember I got a new mic and I didn't have a pop filter on it. So there was a lot of popping in this video. I'm surprised nobody complained about that, because that shit probably would have bothered me. But I didn't have a pop filter at the time, which I'm kind of upset about. And I had this guy named Zero Score, who we're not really talking anymore, but he was a supporter of the channel. I supported his work. He liked Final Fantasy 9, 7, and 8, and 6 and stuff. And he said, like, you should just redo those lines and all that jazz with the pop filter, so you don't worry about the popping. And I'm like, no fucking way, because I had to fix all the timing of the edits, and I am not doing that again. If I was getting paid for it, I would. But no way. Not with somebody with 50 subscribers. I just didn't seem that it held much merit. I didn't think it was that significant, because it's not excruciating. It's just you can notice it. And me talking about it's not helping my case either. Now people are going to really notice it. They're going to look for it. But as I mentioned, the video had some refining issues. It needed to be more fleshed out. I agree. And look, I get it. This is just me, my humble opinion, my subjective opinion, right? I mean, I just stated what I liked about 9 more than 7, and maybe people agree with me. And I think the majority do agree with me. Because guess what? I've had more comments, people agreeing with me, and the like to dislike ratio is night and day. 120 likes and 44 dislikes out of 4 years. So I think I did something right. I think people agree with me on that. And a lot of the times people don't want it to be wrong. They don't want their golden child or golden goose or golden egg to become rotten or become a figment of the time. Because if you look at Final Fantasy VII, that game, talk about unrefined, that game is not unrefined at all. If we're not talking about the graphics, let's talk about the story or the characters and stuff like that. Let's talk about it right now. I'm just saying. Going to that 3D storytelling is not easy. It's not an easy transition. And my God, like the bottleneck of that game is the graphics. It is absolute trash. It is terrible. The character models. I don't know what they were thinking. It's kind of ridiculous that they went with that route. But that's not what we're talking about here. So yeah, I'm not afraid to admit that the video, if I was to do the video now, yeah, I'd be a lot better. Because, this is 4 years ago me, when I was, my channel was still new, or a baby, and, maybe I could have spent some more time researching and stuff. But, it was a time and place for everything. And what I was going through around that time, that's all I could muster for myself. And then you can ask the question, well, why did you do the video then if you didn't make the time? I made the time. 8 months is a lot of time to do it. That was me taking my time. And trust me, I put a lot of time and effort into editing this shit to try to make it interesting for you guys. It was not easy. So I can only imagine how other YouTubers feel when they worked so fucking hard on getting this shit done. Making these long-ass videos. But, I felt good about when I got done with this video, or just when I was doing it. I was so this was like a passion project. It really was. And I hope one day people will find this in the archives, the Dusty Old archives, and they'll discover that its significance. You just never know, right? And just throughout this entire process, I felt good about it. It was fun. I know I say it was a lot of work because it really was. I think the hardest part about it was finding the right scenes to match up what I was talking about, because I was trying to edit it like that. I really wanted people to see my examples and stuff. I had to do it. You have to have examples. I can't be just talking out of my ass. And that was hard to find videos on the internet to do. Oh my god, I downloaded so many videos for this video. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So many pictures, music, and all that. Oh my lord, it was crazy. But that was part of the fun, though. Even though my head was my brain was on fire, it doesn't matter. It's just part of the process. That's just what it took. And when I was done with it, I wasn't expecting it to be 46 minutes long, by the way. I was really hoping I could do a Watch Mojo and make this in 10 minutes, but I really couldn't. To get my point across, I felt like this video needed to have a fleshed out script as much as possible, because this was a big fucking deal talking about the game. Even if my arguments weren't strong, there were still arguments, and people knew what I was talking about, where I was getting at. That's all that matters. I wasn't just talking out of my ass. That's important. So yeah, I completely understand. This is my first informative video or persuasive video I've ever done, pretty much, on my YouTube channel. So, like I said, it's like with anything. You just gotta do it a few times, and then you really master your craft. Then it just gets easier along the way. But when I was done with this video, guys, it was really, really special. I felt great. It was like this one giant presentation from start to finish. I felt so proud of it. I had some great collaborative work with it. I had my friend Riley, who did the amazing title screen art for it, which was so cool. I made the intro to where it's like loading up a PlayStation game. And someone bitched about that. He's like, I have to sit here for 30 minutes to a minute to get to it. I'm like, you have to do that when you're watching a movie or getting to the movie's DVD menu, loading it up and everything. You fucking lazy piece of shit, impatient fuck. Or loading up video games in general takes some time. You have to watch the names and titles of the companies that made it. So what's the big fucking deal? It's like I try to make it like watching a movie, also like making it remind you of what a PS1 loading thing is. People are just ridiculous. So when it was done, I felt proud, and I still feel proud to this day. And I think anybody who makes a video this long and this passionate, you should always feel good about it. So what if it didn't do the best that you were hoping it was? It's done. You did it. You try to get your point across. And this is great. I never have to try to convince somebody. Oh, I really don't. Because of why 7 is not the best and 9 is better than 7. If I ever get into a Final Fantasy debate, I'm like, all right, I made a video on my YouTube channel. I know it's 46 minutes long, but it describes why 9 is better than 7. And I always have that to go back on. That way it just saves me the time. Because I really don't have to argue it with anybody or debate with anybody on why 9 is better than 7 anymore. I just let my video do the talking. And then I can kind of go from there, right? I can follow up with it. Yeah. And I remember showing this to my friends for the first time, my roommates, and they sat through the entire thing. And they were convinced that 9 was better than 7. They're not die-hard Final Fantasy fans, but they know what Final Fantasy is, and they know how I feel about it. And they weren't just showing bias towards me, despite them being my friends. I get it, but I'm not in the wrong with my reasoning, because, like I said, 120 likes, 244 dislikes. So stats don't lie. People in the comments section usually lie because they piss and moan without even providing substantial reasons of why they're like that. They just say I'm wrong, and then they just go. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there that you guys have made that you're super passionate about, but they have not seen the light of day. They're just collecting dust. And everybody's got that. Everybody's got that on their YouTube channel. Everybody starts out, they try to start out strong. They try to go all big and bad on making videos that really seem important to them and put a lot of time and effort. but it's not. It's only the videos later on in your YouTube career or just in life that, once you've owned your craft, that make a difference. But humble beginnings. You got to start somewhere. Am I right? And this video, it will always, like I said, will always stand the test of time, for sure. And I'm excited to keep this in my memory. I'm happy that it's done. I can't believe it's been 4 years, and I still play Final Fantasy IX to this day, not diligently, but like I said, I try to play it a good amount once a year. Final Fantasy VII, not so much, because there's just been too much saturation with that, especially with the 7 remake, which I do plan getting eventually once it releases on PC. Just not now. I don't want to play it on PlayStation 4. Nah. Unless I had a PS4 Pro with a 4K TV, but I don't. So there goes that. So final closing statements. This was an art project that I'll always be proud of. I might be repeating myself now, but bear with me. And I hope you guys don't be discouraged if the video that you created that was just monumental to you, like a passion project, or you try to make it your magnum opus. Don't worry if it's not getting the results you wanted. You never know. One day it just might. And Anakin, what do you think?
Liar!
Okay, he doesn't agree with us, so fuck him. Arrest him.
Uh-oh, retard
Oh,
alert!
no.
Retard
That's what I
alert,
meant to say.
class!
So I'm glad to have done this particular podcast. This is really the only time I've ever done a podcast like this, where I talked about a video and its upbringing, its creation process. It's kind of like a behind-the-scenes thing. It really is a commentary thing. This is not going to happen too often. You know me, I like talking about all things video games, but I like to have switched it up to make things a little interesting. I think it's cool to dive into the psychology of videos that creators have made, or just projects in general. And we all, like I said, we all have that. So, I have been your host, Nico the Legend, also known as the Well-Mannered Teenager and the Snowflake. I appreciate you guys being here. So, round of applause one more time. It's been fun. I'm going to do my best to make this upload on the podcast website that I go on. Because like I said, I can only pay $5 a month at the time, and they only give me 50 megabytes of free space, so that's why this video is about 40 minutes long, which is actually perfect. That's actually the amount I wanted for this type of video, especially. And if I can post it on the podcast site, you'll see it on Spotify momentarily. So thanks again, guys. It has been a pleasure, and I hope to see you guys again. Pathfinders, take care.